got an audience of a varied persona ranging from a 17-year-old to a 70-year-old. You've got challenges with, whether some people are using smartphones, some people you've actually enabled workflows via phone calls if they don't have smartphones, and then the seasonality. So there's a whole, this is a very, very challenging sort of business. So my hat is off to you.
It's a very real business. We don't know if we have cracked it or not, but we're trying to do what we can. Scaling any business is a challenge, right? The only typical nuance that comes in with commodities or trading is that there are physical people and geographical nuances, even socioeconomic nuances that are involved.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
those are a few challenges.
So in the middle, with all of this, so what is the sort of North Star metrics that you have, or how do you know, what metrics do you use to measure the success of your operations, right?
Metricization is relatively simple, right? You start looking where the money is. So you start focusing a lot more on, for us right now, profitability is a very core metric.
Yeah.
We are looking at margins because, and there's an internal joke that we've made in Jiva. Every time anyone asks us in terms of why don't you have an office in Bangalore? We're we're a thin margin business. So the margins are really thin. So profitability, which is a gross contribution or gross margin, is something that we that's the holy grail for us. But there are secondary metrics like volume and margins are definitely what everybody looks at. But we consciously look at the health of a network. And why do we look at the health of a network? Is because this is actually an operations-heavy business. And the way we manage it is we have these local entrepreneurs, the micro collectors or Sahaba Jivas. They're managed by a group of people who are full-time Jiva employees. Now, the way these people manage this huge bunch of maybe 10,000 micro collectors, it's really important for us to keep these ratios healthy. So our ratios of internal resources managing an external operational team is extremely critical for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we've tried to build metrics around the levels of manual intervention that we have in workflows, and we consciously try to lower them down. Like when we started off, the entire cash advance or procurement loans process was offline. As a matter of fact, when we were selling inputs, the first set of inputs were sold on WhatsApp. Nice. People used to place an order on WhatsApp and somebody used to key in the data on our side. Now the idea is to keep on reducing this manual intervention. Because we are targeting huge scales, it's extremely important for us to make sure that there is minimal intervention.
Got it. And so as the chief product officer, how do you ensure the interdepartmental, coordination or workflows that have to happen to enable operations and very complex operations? How do you manage that? Making sure that operations align with the business strategy, but there are so many different moving parts and pieces to this, right? So there's probably a lot of collaboration in real time that's needed, or keeping things in mind from one perspective while trying to make an SOP for another. How do you
I think
any frameworks, mental models, etc. that you use to?
So we can definitely come up with frameworks, and there's a lot of things at play. How do you categorize your product build? How do you define what are the business level objects? How do you translate a lot of these business level objectives into roadmaps? But I'm yet to meet a founder or maybe a leadership team that has actually cracked this. It's extremely difficult. Our business teams have North Star metrics for volumes in GC. But because of the nature of the business, it's extremely difficult for us to understand what exactly enables a volume in GC. Maybe adding a new feature on the app, would it impact that business? Maybe, but there's a pretty high chance that it might just prevent people from coming onto the application because there's 2 more clicks at it. I think I'm probably cribbing a bit more at this point of time, but our team is almost 100% remote. And we started off during COVID. So while we had all of our operations in Indonesia, all my PMs, engineers and designers are based out of India. And for a good part of 1.5 years, we had not even been on ground to understand what's exactly happening.
Oh, that's the most difficult situation to be in for a builder, right? To build for people or an environment that you're not familiar with, you don't understand their thought processes, their psyche, their mental models.